What's up,
Hey
brother?
man, not much. So we got some construction going on. You'll have to tell me if you can't hear me or not, so I can move.
All right, everything.
I guess you hear me
Yeah, I
over
can
that
hear you,
noise?
Brett.
Okay,
All
cool.
right, so round two, attempt number two. Um, let's go over it. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
My name's Jarrett Brumett. I work at Strength and Performance Training in Fairfax. We're a semi-private facility. We train mainly athletes, but we hit everybody. I am in charge of the evaluations here, so I'm one of the ones that helps. I'm one of the ones that just sort of takes people through the whole gambit. We do movement screenings, we do manual muscle testing, we do video analysis, and orthopedic testing. So based off of that, we then write the program, put them through everything, and go from there.
Excellent, excellent. So you obviously you're a massage therapist. How do you take your massage therapy and your training and sort of combine that knowledge into one?
Well, I use the massage therapy part to sort of just help be objective with what's going on. So if someone comes to me, we kind of have two different evaluations. We have a post-rehab evaluation, and then we have a performance evaluation. If someone just comes in off the street, they just want to be trained, they get the performance evaluation. If someone's coming off of an injury or something like that, they get the post-rehab. With post-rehab, we'll look at the movements and we'll then do breakouts. If I see something really going on that's kind of funky, then gives me kind of red flag, I'll break it out as much as I can. With massage therapy, I can deal with tissue quality, and then with training, I can deal with motor control, and that's where NKT really comes in too. So I kind of be objective just on what this person really needs, what's going to get them their goals fastest. So if it's something that I need to intervene in as a massage therapist, do some soft tissue treatment, do some NKT resets, then that's what they're going to get. That's going to be main stuff in their program. And then the stuff that they can already do really well, yeah, we'll work that and just get that stronger.
So you mentioned NKT, and I know you've taken a couple other courses. How do you view continuing education as part of your model? How does that all fit into what you do?
I think that, one, I enjoy it. It's fun going to these seminars. I think it should be mandatory for any coach or trainer or massage therapist to always seek out these seminars, continuing educations. Because what they are, if you really think about it, every seminar is just something that one person or a group of people put together from their experiences. So every time you go to one, you're just really getting the experience from multiple people to really help push you as a professional into another level. You're going to take away tools that are going to fit in your toolbox, and you're just going to be an overall more knowledgeable coach. You're going to know more about these different approaches. You're going to also have a better network from going to these different seminars. The network is huge because then you meet other smart people, you see what they're doing, and then next thing you know, you're looking into that stuff that they're doing. If I go to somewhere and I meet someone who's very successful in what they're doing, they're churning out monsters, then I'm going to look into what they're doing, start to replicate it on my own. Even Mike Boyle, he says that a lot of the stuff he does, he doesn't really create himself. He just steals it from people. And that's what every good coach and good trainer should do. Is just see what works with other people, try it with their own methods, and then keep it if it does work.
Yeah, dude, definitely. And I agree 100% with that. I know you and I are always messaging back and forth with each other, being like, "Oh, you went to this seminar? Like, I just went to PRI Myokinematic this weekend." And you're like, you sent me a message. You're like, "Dude, how was it? Is it something I should go to?" And I think that's the important part is when we go to these seminars and we start building these networks, we're able to then easily connect with someone and be like, okay, dude, was the seminar worth my time? You know what I do. We're kind of similar. Did it work for you? Should I join in? And I think that's where we can really start saving our time with not wasting our time with, some of these joke seminars that are out there where, if you rub your ear for 3 minutes, you're going to be performing like a 500-pound squat. It's like, how do you sort of differentiate besides from just experiences of others on what seminar might be snake oil?
I try to do a good amount of reading on the subjects first. So, like when I looked at original strength, which I enjoy, I think original strength is a great tool. But before I took that, I not only talked to people that are already practicing it, but I also read the book, and then I started to go a little deeper, because one thing about original strength is it's a pretty deep modality when you get into it, but they don't put that out there. So if you really start to look at, the way the ocular patterns are going to work, and how there can be a dysfunction in the oculovestibular reflex, and how that's going to affect movements, the spinal reflexes that you actually hit when you're doing a lot of the resets that they teach. It's pretty deep stuff, and so there really is a lot of science behind it, even though they're kind of presenting it at a very basic level for a lot of just generalized trainers to understand. So I try to do my research. I try to get a hold of, all right, this method does this that this person's teaching. I should read up on this so that when I go to the seminar, if I decide to take it, I'll have a better understanding of the whole broad view. With that, it just puts you in kind of a rabbit hole of reading different sources of just how the human body functions. And to me, as a trainer, I think that's like your priority number one, is to really understand how the body's going to function, because then you're going to start to put together like, oh, okay, now I understand how this method works. Now I understand why Greg Cook screens these certain things, because, these movement sequences happen with this, and, you got the developmental movement patterns. You start to understand it, and then you can start to really put together a curriculum for movement, and you can really start to build your own progressions. Like if you come into SAPT, you're going to see some people that are doing Greg Cook style, like FMS, just movement, or corrective movements. Then you're going to see also some DNS stuff. You're going to see some original strength stuff, just because I really like the way certain ones progress into others, because I know that they're working on same levels, similar stuff. And so to me, you're going to these seminars to really get the tools, to really understand how other people are using the tools. And you got to come back and you got to figure out, all right, how does this work in my curriculum? How does this work in my program? How is this going to give me a really good movement system to really put people through, get them better performance, get them moving better, and the whole gambit?
Yeah. So, I think you hit it just perfectly there. But let's branch off of that a little bit, and let's go into like seminars like NKT, like PRI, like DNS, etc., where they cater to so many different professions all at once. How do let's take away our massage therapy backgrounds. How do we take those type of seminars, which they work well for trainers, but are really kind of geared more towards medical style fields? How do we take that information and make sure that we as trainers, or the pure trainers, stay within their scope?
Well, I think it just sort of, I think every trainer should understand that their goal should be getting to people either moving more or moving better. Whether better means like performance, or whether it means just quality. Your goal is to help somebody reach their fitness goals. Your goal is to help someone be able to do certain things. So when we really look at it from a corrective standpoint, you had a great blog post earlier today that I saw that was kind of sort of going into this, but we're not supposed to fix pain. People might come to us in pain, and then, you have to handle that very carefully. But we should not be really dealing with pain. We should be dealing with movement. If a movement causes pain and we fix the movement, the pain goes away, that's great. But our goal should never be to absolutely fix the pain. We should be working with other professionals to really get that done. By going to these seminars, I find like NKT is perfect for me for working with other professionals, just because if I know another guy that's doing NKT and he's, say, like a chiro, and we share the same client, he might tell me that he's working on this relationship that might be causing neck pain, and so that I should work on X, Y, and Z. And so it really sort of helps us to speak the same language. I think FMS and SFMA do this really well, because a lot of the physical therapists that use SFMA might see something going on in their multi-segmental rotation. And then if the trainer, once they pass that off to the trainer, then the trainer will know, okay, I need to do rotary stability breakouts. I need to help with that. So I think these seminars really help us to speak the same language, even though we're probably going to have slightly different views on to get that same goal. It's just going to really help us as professionals to know what else is out there, know what other modalities are going on. And there are kind of those blurred lines. Like if someone comes into me and they have a lot of knee pain, and as soon as I screen them, I see, I'm not going to put them through screens that hurt, but if I see like a lot of knee valgus just constantly, then I'm mainly going to help work on that knee valgus. Is that technically treating their knee pain? In my eyes, no, I'm treating the knee valgus. I'm fixing the knee valgus. I'm fixing a dysfunction. Is that dysfunction causing the pain? Most likely, yes. So if you fix that and the pain goes away, it's awesome. But for the most part, if I had someone like that, I would say, okay, you're having pain like this. It would probably be a good idea to go get this checked out, make sure everything's structurally sound, make sure you haven't torn an ACL, there's no meniscal issues. But for while you're with me, I'm going to be working on your hip stability, making sure everything stays stable and these dynamic movements that I'm seeing issues with. So by going to these different seminars, you're really sort of learning ways to really intervene that are going to help fix a lot of these issues, and you're going to learn how other professionals are doing it within their scopes. And I think that's going to help you really understand what you can do for somebody. Last time we talked, I kind of went over, I think trainers really underrate what they can give to people. You know, if we can fix their movement, if we can make them move better, you know, it has so much carryover in every aspect of their life. If we can get someone so they can move more and they have a little bit more endurance, they're going to be more active day to day. They're going to have more energy. Their mood's going to be better. Psychologically, they're going to feel a lot better. You know, and like I was saying before, there are so many movement dysfunctions that are also associated with like learning disorders. We have kids all the time that come in and I do the screenings and I see there's something off with their eyes. I see that there's something off with just the way they're coordinating movements. And the next thing you know, I'm like, this kid has ADD. I can tell just by the way he's moving. He has ADD and ADHD. There might have been something to go on with some of his developmental patterns that just hasn't happened there. So by really just focusing on what I can, by correcting the movements, I might help other aspects of their life that other professionals might not be able to help. You know, trainers, we're one of the rare professions that just sort of deals with almost everything that has to do with being a person. We deal with the social interaction, we deal with the physical component, we deal with the mental component, we deal with a lot of it. So going to these different seminars, whether it's just a motivational one, whether it's a corrective-based, performance-based, you're going to see all these other professionals, and it's really going to help you to learn what's going on.
Yeah, and you know, I think we as trainers are like you said, we're in that, we have that rare ability to truly be able to change lives, and truly be able to make an actual difference in life. You know, where would you want to guide someone who's looking to get into the industry? What would you get them in order to, I guess, realize like how much potential change that they can cause to someone else?
I would tell them to shadow as many people as possible. Not only like the same profession, like definitely if you want to be a strength coach, shadow a strength coach. Spend most of your time under a strength coach. Make sure they're a good strength coach that knows what they're doing, and really start to pull away from their experiences, because they're going to have a particular way of doing things that might take you like 4 or 5 years to really learn why, but you're going to learn it like if you're on your own, but you're going to learn it instantly by being there, and you just shaved off 4 or 5 years of just how to teach someone a better way to do a step back lunge or something like that. Also shadowing other people that just deal with either pain, dysfunction, corrective modalities. I try to shadow a chiropractor or a physical therapist almost at all times once a week. Ever since I've gotten out of college, I've had 1 day a week where I usually try to go and just learn from another individual, see how they're doing screening, see how they're doing orthopedic tests, see how they're doing their NKT, their SFMA, things like that, picking up little tricks. Not only does it really ensure that you have a great network, you know who's good, and who to refer to when, but you also pick up little tricks that you can actually start using in training. Just because I go to a chiropractor, and he might be doing adjustments all day, and then he'll start doing a corrective cue here and there. I've picked up a lot of cues that I really like with my training, and like a lot of very little subtle discrepancies I might see in movement at the chiropractic office that I would never have picked up on if I was just looking at it from a training floor perspective. Same thing if you go to a podiatrist, you might start learning a lot about feet. You might see some stuff going in foot dysfunction, and you could start to relate, this client's been having all this hip pain, and I've been avoiding hip pain stuff, or stuff that might cause the hip to be an issue. But now I'm seeing like this person at the podiatrist's office that was having hip pain, and the feet are doing the exact same thing as my clients. So you'll start to put together these little things, and next thing you know, you send that person to a podiatrist, like, I know you've been going to PT, you're not getting the greatest results. I really think you should go see a podiatrist. And then next thing you know, that client might get unbelievable results. They might get their pain relieved. So it's going to give you a great referral network, but it's also going to teach you when to refer, like, to who. And I think that, as a fitness professional, is severely important because, we're going to be seeing people that might have cardiovascular disease, and we might have to pick up on signs of that. We might have some neurological dysfunctions that we might see every once in a while. We're always seeing orthopedic issues. So, just being able to screen everybody out and send them to the right person is going to make you that much better of a trainer. And also, it's just going to give you a better idea of what to do when you do see those issues coming from. So, like, say I'm sending people to the podiatrist, he might start sending me people. Now I also know what to do. So for anybody training in the field, the first thing is you just got a hands-on experience in almost every part of the field. Most trainers, I think, they become specialized eventually, but it kind of takes a while. And then you're going to start getting people referred to you that kind of fit your specialty. But to start off, you really just need to understand everything, how, it takes a village to raise a kid. The same thing for training. You really got to become a really good trainer, you really got to go and see everything and understand that really for this client, it's going to take a whole village to get them what they need. So that would be my main thing to say to people. The other thing is just don't stop reading. Don't stop looking things up. Always check and see what other people are doing. We and our friends on Facebook, we got other friends that are trainers all over the country that we probably see on Facebook, and I'm always seeing, okay, they attended this, they're reading this, they posted this. And it sort of keeps me in the loop of, what are these new methods coming out? What's the kind of the new things I should keep my eye on as far as research? And it just sort of points you to what you should do, what you should look into, what's next.
I think you make a great point about that, especially like social media and how powerful it can be. I know I personally on Facebook, I favorite and make sure that people whose ideas challenge mine the most. Those are the people that I make sure that I click follow and I want all their updates. Because those are the people I want to really get information from. I want someone who challenges my way of thinking. Because the more we're challenged, the more we grow. If we keep just listening to the people who preach what we preach, how are we going to be able to grow? We need that challenging to our belief system to really pull ahead.
Right.
But let's say we got a new trainer and his client has, let's say, low back pain. What happens when that trainer doesn't want to send that client off because they're afraid they're going to lose the client? Talk to me.
The trainer is first doing a huge disservice to that client. If you're not in this to help people, if you're in this to just keep the client so you can make money, then you're still not going to make money because people are going to start to see that. If a client comes to that trainer and they have low back pain, low back pain can be facilitated by, as you know, almost anything. So he's going to be pretty high risk to having that low back pain reoccur even more so during the session. Without the trainer, especially if they're newer, setting them out, you're going to figure out what's going on, you're going to get a better idea, and then you're going to see what you can actually work with. So if, say it's an SI issue, they get sent out, the physical therapist or chiropractor, whoever starts looking at it, they might adjust, they might do this or that, but they're going to start saying, you need to work on your glute strength, core strength. Trainers, that's usually what we always hear, that like, oh yeah, my doctor said I need to work on my core strength or my hip strength, which, who doesn't, and what the crap does that even mean? But, if you really know what you're doing, then yeah, you can take it from there, but you can also just start to talk to the referral network. But you're also really putting yourself at a big chance of liability of having that person get hurt and then blaming you. So I think that if a trainer is really scared of losing that client, then that's just kind of silly. That's stupid. If you send them out and they start getting better, then they're definitely going to come back to you because they knew that you made the right decision. You were a mature enough adult or professional to make that right decision, the right call, and you were looking out for the good of them, rather than be like, oh yeah, no, just work through the pain, or we're just going to avoid it. We're just going to stretch your hamstrings and see how you feel. So I think that as a professional, people need to reach a maturity level and realize that, like, I can't fix everything. I can't help everybody. But what I can do is I can put them on the right track to getting those results. And then we can work out. If they have low back pain, then yeah, they could probably do a majority of upper body stuff as long as it's supported. Is it going to be like the best training session ever? No. but you should send them out, work on what you can, and so you get the information you need to help them.
Definitely. And, I think that was really what I was hoping you were going to say with it and, really dive into. And that's perfect. We need to be thinking about the client first, our paycheck second. If you think about it that way, your paycheck grows anyways.
Oh, yeah.
But here's what it comes down to is really, once again, it's about why you're in this industry. But let's talk about the industry. So we see all the time, especially in the training industry, you see it all the time. People fall into these niches, and not just like a niche like, you're like a Cressy, you're a baseball guy, yada, yada, yada. I mean, like, you're strictly a kettlebell person, or you're a TRX person, and there is no such thing as intermingling of those groups, or you're just an Olympic lifts person, and you barely use anything else. How do we get people, especially because you're seeing it more and more with the newer folks in the industry, how do we get them to realize that each thing is just a part of the process, a part of the tools?
I think that's just going to take them to get some trial and error. It's starting off, I think almost everybody in our industry looks at it from a bodybuilding standpoint. When you first get your first personal trainer certification, it's almost always, okay, you have to have a leg exercise, a back exercise, a this, a that. And that's just stupid. I don't know why. There's still a lot of certifications that sort of teach you to train like that, rather than kind of a movement base. And really, going by just certain, I don't know if you'd call it methods or whatever, just sticking to that one tool is really going to be trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. A lot of people, I love kettlebells. I do use a lot of kettlebell. Most of the people that are going to walk through SAPT are going to touch a kettlebell. But now, if it's a football player, they're probably going to touch a kettlebell way less than they will a barbell, just because it's going to fit their needs more. You really have to you need to get your personal bias out of the way. So a lot of us, the way we train is the way we're going to start training our clients. And it shouldn't be that way, because I'm a unique individual. I have my own issues in my movement that I like to hit. I have certain movements that don't bode well with just my training, and so I stay away from those. But I need to make sure that, for me, I hate lateral lunges. Every time I do them, I just feel my adductors just go on fire, and I just suck at them. So I don't do them that much. But for a baseball player, yeah, I'm going to do a lot of lateral lunges. I need to get his movements in the frontal plane very good. And so that's just kind of a personal bias that you need to get past. Same thing goes for if you're going to do kettlebells, TRX, whatever. The more diverse you can make your training modalities, the better off you're going to be. The bigger toolbox you have, the better you're going to be. But trying to fit one person on one certain thing is just really limiting the capacity that you can do with that person. It's limiting. It's going to also limit the population to which you reach out to. So, a good example is we talked about last time, the Olympic lifts. I think Olympic lifts are awesome. I think it's good that CrossFit brought back the Olympic lifts. I do not think that a lot of people should be doing the Olympic lifts, just because, all the time you see them in high schools being done, being attempted anyway, and they look horrible. There's no way that they're transferring well to the sports because of the way they look. And you see all the time that when people come into our performance facility that they're expecting to see a crap ton of cleans, a crap ton of snatches. No, that's not the case, because we deal with a lot of volleyball players and a lot of baseball players. And could a volleyball player, could they get a lot of results from Olympic lifting? Yes, but a lot of the ones we see play year-round. It's kind of hard just to groove their hinge pattern right off the bat. A lot of them are really tall, so it's even harder to groove their squat pattern. And then if you want to do that dynamically, if I'm going to teach a volleyball player to do it and they already can't really hinge that well, I'm betting it's going to take a good 12 to 16 weeks before they could do an actual clean well. And that's 16 weeks of training that I just took aside just to learn this one movement to try to put that square peg in that round hole, when I could have been doing a lot of strength work, a lot of dynamic effort work, a lot of addressing different weaknesses in their movement that might be holding their vertical back. I could do a lot of plyo work. I could do so many other things to get this volleyball player results that it just doesn't seem right to go through with the Olympic lifts. Now, if they're going off to college and I know they're gonna be doing a lot of cleans and stuff like that in college. Yeah, I'm probably gonna start taking time. That way, they can do it well when they're in college. But for the most part, I just see Olympic lifts as a lot of people trying to push that square peg in that round hole. And we need to view that for the same. We need to view that for the same thing for all the modalities, whether it's TRX stuff, whether it's kettlebells. They all have their time and place. We just need to figure out when that time and place is. And I think that also fits into kind of how I was saying you should go to different seminars and sort of learning how things mesh together. You should do that because you come in here, we start people off squatting with kettlebells. They'll go from a goblet squat to a double arm rack. Eventually, they might do a front squat, back squat, or Zercher right after. And then, we just sort of progress it through. You should use the same thing for the modalities. So.
Dude, that's perfectly said, and just like kind of how we just talked about in the beginning, and it kind of goes full circle. It's like with all the seminars, it's finding out what works for the client, and I think that's really what our whole talk today was about. Was just like what works for the client, what's going to get the client the best results, not what you think is going to get the client the best results, because we got to really step back for a second and make sure our biases are not negatively influencing our potential chances to help our client. And I think that's where a lot of professionals, not even just fitness professionals, but just professionals in general, fall into these patterns, is just sticking with what you think's going to work, and then that works for everyone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and we see it on so many different scales. You see it on a rehab scale, you see it on a performance scale. I just think that people need to understand that they need to take records of what works when, put that down, take a mental note. And so, for us, we bring people into our evaluations, and if we see certain things in the evaluations that correlate, then we know, okay, we need to do this modality, we need to work on this movement, we need to progress it this way. So everyone comes in, we have a process to put them through. If we notice one part of the process is getting kind of stale, we're not seeing a lot of results out of it, we change that part of the process and we really look into it and dive into it. I see all the time a lot of people will, on the rehab, they might dry needle everything, and that might not be what the person needs. So it happens for rehab professionals, it happens with strength and conditioning professionals, it happens in the whole field. But I think what really sets the successful people apart is that they take notes and they see if a certain method isn't working, then they change that method a little bit, or they alter it, or they change the progression. And so I think by going to the seminars, by looking at different modalities of training, by looking at different implements to use, then you can really start to figure out that nice, even flow that people are always progressing through whatever their goals are.
Dude, that's perfect, and I think it's a good place to close, especially since both you and I need to get off to our clients. But dude, I appreciate you coming on, talking. Definitely some great stuff. And as always, thank you for coming on, and we'll definitely have you on again.
Yeah, thanks, man. All right,
brother. Bye.